Hi, my name is Jaclyn Smith, and I've been an animal communicator professionally for 40 years, which I absolutely am honored to do and really enjoy it. And I get to work with people all over the world about their animals. And so I have the wonderful opportunity to communicate with their animals about behavioral issues. I do soul recovery work with their animals as well. I track lost animals, and also I do long distance healing with animals and a wide variety of other things. And I also work holistically with animals, which I'm so grateful and thankful to have the opportunity to do that, like I said. And I also happen to be a star being communicator. And I absolutely love communicating with the star beings. And the truth is, we're all star seeds on Earth, and that the animals, those who we label animals, and other living forms on Earth are also star beings. But that's often not talked about. But the truth is, they are star beings from other star systems as well. So we're all one in that regard. And so Earth is a beautiful planet, and the star beings tell me how much they love the Earth and how much they would love for us to treat Mother Earth so much better than we do. When I was a little girl, I was able to communicate with animals and trees. And at an early age, when I was hearing trees singing, my mother told me that it was my imagination. So some of my intuition went underground with that because she said that wasn't possible. But I could hear the trees sing, and sometimes I would sing back to them. So as time went on, I opened up and did communicate with the animals and the star beings. My star family is Quabar. I come from, as Quabar calls it, the seventh universe outward from Earth. And I come from a collective consciousness that is pure energy, love, light, and joy. And they have a great sense of humor, which I like to share because many people think that star beings don't have a sense of humor, but they do. They make me laugh often. So with Quabar coming to me in a very conscious way in the 80s, that opened the doors for me to really set me on a new track of communicating with star beings more, opening up that area of my life. And as a little girl, when I was 3 years old, I was running around on a starship, and my star parents in this lifetime are Amita and Zazu, and they are tall white Cetas, and they're this beautiful shimmering white light, and beneath that their essence are these neon globes of neon blue light, and they're just amazing. They're loving, and there are a lot of myths that a lot of star beings do not have emotions, but in fact they do. My star parents hugged me. They loved me. My star mom would carry me around the ship, and sometimes I would get into things, and it was funny because they would, they knew that they had their hands full with me running around the ship, so it was great fun. But I've been in touch with star beings since really I was in the crypt, my star family used to come and communicate with me telepathically, even then. And at 3 years old and even younger, I was running around on the ships, which was great. I was in classes. I was learning about how to work with energy, how to materialize objects, how to levitate objects, and how to speak light language. I would speak light language with my star parents and the other species of beings that were on the ship, such as mantis, Arcturian zetas, and also there were some celestial beings on the ship as well that some might refer to as angelic. So I had a great time as a child on the ship, and I never wanted to go back to Earth. I would say, "Can't I stay?" And they would say, "No, you have a mission. You need to go back and be on Earth. Remember, your soul decided that you had some things to do on Earth." And so sometimes I would even cry, and they would hug me and tell me I would be fine. And then they would also visit me. So I'm really grateful for those experiences. And I had no fear because they loved me unconditionally. So I'm always happy to share that with people, because some people have different takes on star beings. And there is a wide spectrum of frequencies with the star beings. So there are, just like with the human race, there are some humans who are absolutely wonderful when we think of Mother Teresa, but then there's the other end of it too, those who are murdering and doing things like that. So there's a wide spectrum, but the point is, when we put out our intention to attract loving beings, we will attract loving beings. And so to move out of fear is a positive thing, because we don't want to attract what we don't want. So I have communicated with hundreds of different races of star beings. They have come to me through the years. I've been communicating with them all my life, as I've mentioned. And after communicating with Quabar, the doors opened even more. And so I started communicating with Arcturians and many races who do not even have names. I started communicating with Syrians, Pleiadians, tall white, Zetas. So there's a wide variety of star beings. So I consider it's really fun. And people often ask me how the communication takes place. So for me, I communicate with them telepathically. I can hear them, what they're saying, or if they show me images, but I often hear them telepathically. It's like I hear a voice in my mind, and I have learned to know what's my voice and what is their voice. It's a feeling I get that I have when they are communicating with me. So when they send me a message or want to get my attention, then I communicate back with them telepathically as well. This is really natural for me. Telepathic communication is very natural for me. It's very easy for me. It's a very direct way for us to communicate with star beings and for them to communicate with us. And the thing I love about telepathic communication is that it is direct. And when we're dealing, with humans, human to human, with using words often get in the way of truth, or things are not clear, and truth might not be spoken. So in communicating with the star beings, it's very clear, to the point, and I really appreciate that and love that a lot. And if I start to get too serious in my life, they'll often tell me to lighten up and make me laugh about something. And so I always love that. And with the communications on the ship, it was even more so, because on the ship that I was on often, it was, the frequencies are so high. It's like everyone is connected and is of one mind. So the communications happen so quickly, so automatically, because of that deep connection energetically. So I really felt and experienced the oneness with my star family. And I am a hybrid, which means that I carry 7 different star being races within me, their DNA. And how that came about was when my mother was pregnant. She was taken aboard the ship with Zazu and Amitha and others. And you could say they injected a cocktail of the 7 different DNA races into the womb where I was. So I was genetically enhanced. And some people ask me, well, what's the difference between a hybrid and a starseed? Well, everyone's a starseed, as I mentioned, we're all from the stars. And the difference is that those who we call hybrid were actually genetically altered by the star beings in one way or another. Some are altered after they're born, up until about 6 years old. And so there's different ways that can happen. And I think it's, I feel honored that my soul volunteered to come to Earth and be a hybrid. And so I've been told by my star family, at this point I'm about 85% in terms of frequency DNA, star being, and then the rest of me is human. So, but in the larger sense of it all, we're all hybrids, because a lot of hybrid races helped to create this wonderful diversity on Earth. So I think to me it's nothing special to be labeled a hybrid, but people often ask me about that, and it did enhance, you could say, some of my talents and skills in terms of what I'm able to do. I can look into a body and see the organs and understand what's going on. I do not diagnose or work in that way. I just share with people what I see. And also other work that I do, such as soul recovery. I started that with animals, was one of the first people to do that. And I love the work. And so my guidance team taught me how to do that. So they kind of have put me in a position to be out there in a way to share the gifts and talents that they have given given me with healing and communication and with the animals as well, as trees and rocks and rivers, which everyone actually has the innate ability to do. It's just much more natural for me to do. As a hybrid, I like to call myself a bridge. So I can present both the human side of things and the star being side of things as well. And I really enjoy sharing both points of view. I always have to deal with the human part of me, which can be sometimes difficult for the star being part of me. And and that's been a challenge in this lifetime for sure, to really integrate and understand the human aspects of myself. It's much more natural for me to be the star being, and to be really, to come from that perspective. And many people also ask me if I have hybrid children, and I have over 40 hybrid children, and I love them all. When I was about 15 years old, I was in my backyard, or really a neighbor's backyard, and behind us was a woods. And in the middle of a day, a metallic saucer just came shooting down from the sky and hovered in the sky just above the trees. It was that close. It was just huge. And I was looking at it, and my parents were there, but they didn't seem to see the saucer. And then a friend was there too, and she saw the saucer too, saw the ship. And so they took me on the ship to begin preparing me for their hybridization program. And my soul had volunteered to do that. That was fine for me. So they began preparing me. And at that time, I wasn't fully awake. And 2 weeks before this happened, I was at home complaining and upset with my parents about something, as teenagers do. And I said, I wish a UFO would just come and get me the hell out of here. And so within 2 weeks, here we are. This ship shows up in the middle of a day, blue sky, no clouds. And so after I was on the ship, back on the earth, the ship made right angles. It actually made the sign of a cross. And then it shot straight up faster than anyone could ever imagine. It was there, and then it was just gone. So I just accepted that experience. There was no fear. I thought it was cool. So I was very, very happy that they came to start to prepare me for the hybridization program. So because on some level, I remembered that I had volunteered for that. So my children, some of my children, later when I used to visit them on the ship, that was very hard for me. And so it was hard for me to leave them. And so I had to adjust to going and coming. And but I knew they were being taken care of on the ship. And being hybrid, there was no way that they could come to Earth. So there was a little girl, my little girl, who looked a lot like me, and she is now living on Earth somewhere. They have integrated her into a society now, and she's doing very well. She and I communicate telepathically, and that's a real gift. I really enjoy being able to be in touch with her to know how she's doing in her work as a hybrid. So we're all developing and evolving. Those of us who are hybrids as being bridges, each generation who have children who are hybrids here on Earth. It keeps evolving and helping to raise the frequency for humanity, which is just beautiful. And so I love doing the work that I do. And also through my life, through my entire life, I've had all kinds of experiences. I've always been psychic, telekinetic, where objects sometimes, if I'm in a highly emotional state, will fly. And one time I was more than one time in a grocery store, and I walked down the aisle and cans flew off the shelf behind me. It was a very weird feeling, and I was trying to kind of get out of there with these cans flying off the shelf behind me. And it was I felt like I was in a movie or something. It was very weird. But so if I get really angry or really happy, sometimes ecstatic, I have to really ground my energy because I blow out light bulbs, and I've blown out phones and other things. So it's part of that energy of the star beam energy too. On the ship, one of the things I really loved playing with were the symbols on. They're not really the walls of the ship because there aren't really walls on a ship. It's pretty much all holographic. But I used to, the symbols would come off the walls, come out of the walls, the holographic walls. And actually, when I was a little girl, I would dance with the symbols. And I loved hugging them. I could do that energetically. And I loved sticking my fingers in them. And also, they would move through my body. They would just like fly through my body. And I thought that was so funny. I used to laugh. And they would come into my body to shift different things within me energetically. And so that was a delight for me as a little girl to experience speaking light language with those on the ship, as well as the symbols. And the symbols really are, I really do refer to them as beings of light. They are a consciousness. They are alive. They are aware. So there was a lot of interaction between the symbols and I. And they would speak to me the language of light. They would speak light to me. That's what the language of light is. It's light, frequency, spoken. And of course, from them, it would just flow to me. And I would hear it, and I giggled a lot, and I still do that when I speak light language, or when I hear the symbols or the script from light language speaking to me. And to me, that's a great joy in my life. I love speaking light language. I love sharing that with others, and I do light language consults with people and include my singing bowls, and I have a keyboard. where I include that as well. And so what I love about the light language is it bypasses the mind ego. And so it's a very direct way of communicating, like telepathic communication between myself and star beings. So it's kind of all the same. And with animals as well, it's all the same language of light, of love, and of sound. And of course, everything is based on sound. Everything comes from sound. The universe was created from sound. So being able to have a way to express light through light language, to me, is really, really exciting. And so many people are speaking light language. Everyone has the ability to speak light language. It's within them. They can speak their soul language, or the language of other beings. I speak the language of many star beings. And it's great fun for me. And also of my own soul. And other beings, nature spirits, are those who desire to come through. Oftentimes, the light language comes through to me to give a message, or for a healing, or to share with someone. Or some days I might walk around speaking light language for the earth in the form of a prayer or a mantra. So this light language is very useful for everyone in the sense that we can all speak it, all connect with each other through heart to heart, soul to soul. We don't have to understand the words that are coming through the vocalizations or through the hands. We also speak light language with the hands and the whole body. And for example, a few weeks ago, I had a symbol that I had drawn. Actually, one of them's behind me on the far left. And so the symbols came off the page, and I started moving my body to the symbols, and actually did movement as the symbol, as the light language. So I think we're going to be seeing more and more people speaking light language and really having great fun with it, healing from it. So we're having really wonderful openings with that. I know with my clients, incredible things happening with that work. And so, and also the star beings, I've learned a great deal from them. And they have cultures just like we have cultures here. So many of them do enjoy singing or writing poetry and dancing. They have families and they have children. And so we are not unique. Humans are not unique in those ways. And on other planets and other star systems, there are no categories for animals. There's no such thing. Everyone is respected and honored as just another being, as an essence, as a soul. And so there aren't all the categories for all these beings, insects, animals, and so on, all those divisions. That's very much of a human way of looking at things. The star being way is we're all one, we're all equal, no being is better than another. Now the star beings, a number of them are more evolved than we are. It doesn't mean they're better. And my star family, Quabar, tells me that, comes to me and says, we are not better. We are evolving too, just like humanity is evolving. And so I really like to share that with people, because some people can get caught into worshiping the star beings or expecting them to save us in some way or other. And we can certainly learn a lot from them, but they are learning a lot from us as well. They are very interested in our emotions. They too have emotions, and different star beings run a different spectrum of emotions. But we're all learning together, and the truth is they are us and we are them. That is the truth. We are all one, and I like to share that message because that is one of the key messages that they like to share with me, and also that we have more things in common. You know, let's focus on the things we all have in common than the differences, rather than focusing on how the star being might look. Let's look at their heart energy, and we have much more in common than we think in telepathically communicating with them. Everybody has the ability to communicate with a star being, and it's very simple if we set our intention and invite them in with love and light and joy. And so I work with many people, teaching them how to do that. I did have a few years ago a number of experiences actually happened on Thanksgiving. I call them my Thanksgiving experiences. And it was pretty mind-blowing. And I was sitting in my living room and I heard star beings start communicating with me again. I could feel them around me for weeks before this. And when the comet Ison was going through around the sun, and I knew Ison was very important, helping to bring in the divine feminine. So anyway, they said, why don't you go outside? We'd love for you to go outside and look up in the sky at midnight. And I'm going like, well, I really want to go to bed. So they go, we would really like you to go out. And they always give me a choice. You know, there's no mind control. There's nothing like that. And so I go, okay. And they said, you have a lot of gifts coming tonight. So I went out at midnight and I looked up, there were 7 starships in the sky, which was amazing. They were dancing in the sky. And as I was watching that, I was so grateful. A craft just suddenly comes out of a portal over my house, goes over my house, just above a tree in my backyard, which is maybe 40 feet high. And the ship flashed their lights specifically into my eyes. And it was like it was an organic ship. And so it was like a living being. It was amazing. And it took off so fast, I couldn't believe it. I felt, again, like I was in a movie. And I called a friend the next day and I said, you got to come over, bring your camera. So she did. And we took photos, over 500 photos. There were symbols all over in the snow. It had snowed all around my house, kind of like a crop circle. And also grass had grown up overnight 5 inches through my grass, which is typical of crop circles. And they were bent. The blades of grass were bent. So we did that and went through my house and started taking tons of photos. One owl statue of mine on the one wing, actually the molecular structure had changed, and I still have that, so that's pretty exciting. But it changed the whole electromagnetic field of my house. And she felt it. She's a Reiki master. And when she drove up to my house, she goes, "Do you know what's going on in your house?" And I go, "Yeah, I have a pretty good idea." And so it was, I had 2 weeks of going off and on ships. I had at least a couple days of missing time. And they came one night and said, "Do you want to go on a mothership?" And I said, "Yeah, are you kidding me? Like I would turn that down." So a scout ship came. I saw the scout ship again. I felt like I was in a movie. They said, "Lay down. We're going to take you to the mothership." And I said, "Fine." And I lay down. And I remember, the great thing is I remember pretty much everything consciously. Landed, I don't know what you would call it at the port where you go onto the mothership. They had my energy signature, so I went in and met a lot of old friends there who are star beings of various cultures, and that was really, really fun. And they did some surgeries on me, and they put up a screen memory, and a screen memory is where they give you a different memory, usually something pleasant. And I just said, "Forget the screen memory. I know what's going on. I can see you guys." So they were just doing things to help my body, to support my body. At that time, it actually changed my eyesight. I was wearing glasses to read the computer, and suddenly I didn't need the glasses. A couple of days later, I went to read the computer, and I couldn't read it with my glasses. I took them off, and my eyesight was different. So that was a real gift. And I had the gift of being able to understand my life, a lot of my life, and to put many pieces of my life together in terms of being a star being. And so that was a real gift to me to be able to experience. And I had actually asked for that, and then all these experiences happened. And so I cleaned up a lot of karmic things from past lives. I went into future lives. They took me to various star systems. I went home to Ambana, which is the frequency of Quabar, where my star origin is, my first soul's expression as a star being. So these experiences are wonderful, and I've written kind of an ebook about these if you ever want to check that out. Some of the experiences are quite amazing, and I really enjoyed the whole thing. And it did take me a little while to process everything because of going in and out of the different time dimensions. It was crazy because, being here on Earth, the time was one way, and then going on ships and that, there is no time. So it kind of scrambled, my human body in that. But in the end, it was a really wonderful gift for me. People often ask me also about the ascension process. So from my point of view and what the star beings are shared with me too, ascension is not about going somewhere. It's not being saved by the star beings, the ships coming down and taking us somewhere. It's about humanity growing up. It's about humans here learning and embracing that they are cosmic citizens. It's about us moving beyond limiting beliefs that we have and old patterns that we carry from not only this life, but from past ancestry as well, which many people are now clearing out so that we can truly be who we are, to express ourselves authentically and to share our truth and to do what's uniquely ours to do here on the earth plane. We've all agreed to be here. And I have many clients who will sometimes complain about that. Why did I come here? Why am I here? Wish I hadn't come here. And so what I'd like to say is that, we're all here for a reason, and that I had to learn to go really deep within myself to understand that I had purpose here, and that it could be fun, that it could really be fun, like the light language, playing singing bowls, and really using my talents and skills to communicate with other star beings and to share that with people and to share all that I've been through, both as a star being and as a human too. It was not a real easy childhood. I had to understand why I went through those things to show me that I was a light in this world, and that we're all lights in this world, but sometimes we forget that. And so when we remember what bright lights we all are, that at the very core we are divine love, which is the basic truth, I think that we can live from a more comfortable place, a more authentic place. And I know I've had to walk through all of this, so I talk to many, many people about this every day. So I'm wanted to mention, if you're interested in my services, www.jaclynsmith.com. You can check that out. Also, I'm a certified hypnotherapist and do work with experiencers, work with hybrids, work with starseeds, helping them to process their experiences and help them to know what their star origin is as well, or anything else they might want to process in that way. I've been doing that for many, many years. And also, I do work as an animal communicator, working with behavioral issues and pretty much anything. I have 2 books out, just to mention that you can check out at my site. Animal Communication, Our Sacred Connection, and Star Origins and Wisdom of Animals, which the animals beings came to me and asked me to write this book about the star systems they are from. And so that was really exciting, writing that book as well. I have some MP3s that can be downloaded about communicating with star beings and animals as well, and a couple free light language audios and some other audios I have on that you can check out for purchase, with light language, awakening star consciousness, and also going deeper into the heart. I really believe the key message that I like to share too is so that we can live in a simple way from our hearts and the star beings that I communicate with share that with me, to live from the heart, to live in a simple way. And many of them know how to do that in a way that we are still learning to do, while living in this 3D dimension on Earth. But we are certainly raising our frequencies, and humanity is awakening, which is really exciting and really growing. It's just wonderful, and realizing that humanity's connections are much bigger than just those on Earth. So I hope you all check out my website, and thank you so much.